Okay, in lesson 89, we're going to talk about something called the trichotomy axiom. That's a big word. Remember that tri means three, so there's three parts to this. Okay, and what it means is that if I have two numbers, and here in this mathematical definition, they're referring to these numbers as A and B, quantities A and B. I can have one of three things happen. I can have A equal to B. A is greater than B. I can have A less than B, or I can have A equal to B. So one of those things, and if you think of any two numbers, one of those things must be true. Okay? The next part of this lesson is they're going to teach us about the symbols of negation. So symbols of negation, think of the no smoking sign, right? They're just going to have a big cross through whatever the symbol is. So instead of equals to, this is not equals to, this is not greater than, this is not less than, this is not greater than or equal to, and this is not less than or equal to. So then we have to consider if something's not equal to, that's kind of obvious. If something's not greater than, it could be less than or equal to. Just think about that. If it's not greater than something, then it could be, or it has to be, less than or equal to. If it's not less than, it has to be greater than or equal to. If it's not greater than or equal to, it must be less than. And if it's not less than or equal to, it must be greater than. So all that's going to be important when we start our practice here. Okay. So in practice A, it says, let's graph x is not less than or equal to -1. Now with all these, it's really important to rewrite these in a positive inequality, as a positive inequality. So this is difficult to wrap your mind around, but if you put it in a positive way, then it makes it a lot simpler. Okay, so as I go down to write it as a positive inequality, I'm going to write x is greater than -1. Okay, so x is not less than or equal to -1 actually means x is greater than -1. So if I go to graph that then, okay, I'm going to have my graph. I'm going to have my -1. I'm going to have my open circle. Since it's not less than, it's just greater than. And then we're going to shade off to the right because it's greater than. Okay, example B. Okay, we have, I'm giving you a hint. X is not greater than, x is not greater than 2. So if we rewrite, x is less than or equal to 2. So again, if it's not greater than 2, it's less than or equal to 2. So when we graph, we're going to start with our 2. We're going to have our closed circle because it's equal to, and it's less than, so we're going off to the left. Our last example here, we're going to have x is not greater than or equal to 2. Not greater than or equal to 2. So that means x is less than 2. So if it's not greater than or equal, it must be less than. So if it must be less than, we're going to start with our 2, open circle to the left for less than. Pay real close attention to these. They are simple, but they can be confusing if you're not careful and detailed. Okay, see you next time.